All right, people, I am going to show you something new to some of you. Some of you may have seen one of these before, but this is called the discussion web. And you are going to be using a discussion web throughout your little mini genetics unit here to keep track of all of the information you are going to gather for the next few days. So you can see in a discussion web, you're going to have a focus question here in the middle, and then you have two sides here. You have a yes side and you have a no side. And so what you're going to do, the focus question that goes in the middle is going to be something that someone could see both ways. Some people might say yes to the question, some people might say no, and it is going to be your job to gather evidence on both of those sides. So I'm just going to show you how to do this. I'm going to go back to the metric system, and so I'm going to put what our focus question was when we were looking at the metric system. So it was, should the United States switch to the metric system? And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go into this CNN.com article, No, America Shouldn't Go Metric. And I'm going to just scroll down a little, and I'm going to read just a little bit here for you. I'm going to read just 2 paragraphs, so starting right here at the top. Don't get me wrong, the metric system is one of the greatest tools ever invented. It is already the first language of measurement in science classes around the country. The first time I ever heard my kindergarten daughter use a measure, it was for something that she said stood about 4 meters off the ground. She also likes soccer. So I'm going to go back in here, and did I in that first paragraph hear a reason that somebody might say yes, or that author might try to be convincing us of yes, we should switch to the metric system? And I am going to go here, and one of the things that he talked about in the article is that it's already being used in science classes around the country. Okay? So I have here, it's already the first language of measurement in science classes and industry around the country. A lot of people are already using it, and that was from the CNN.com article. So as you guys are going through class, you are going to, for every different resource that your teacher gives you, either an article or a class discussion or a video, or if you're reading something from a book, you are going to put every different resource in a different color and just do a really quick jot of where it came from. So this was from the CNN.com article. All right, so I'm going to go back into the article, and I'm going to keep reading. So I'm going to just scroll up since I don't have a pointer. It says, the metric system is as preeminent in American industry as it is in schools. Manufacturers in this country made a massive push toward the metric system in the early 70s, which became part of a drive to take the nation metric as a whole. Then President Gerald Ford signed the Metric Conversion Act in 1975. The main reason, aside from everyday citizens, came from the unions, the main resistance came from the unions who feared that a switch to an international system of measurement would make it easier for big corporations to ship jobs offshore. They were right. And so now I'm going to go back into my discussion web, and if you guys saw it, I saw a big reason why someone might say no there. A switch would make it easier to ship our jobs offshore. So he was saying that people feared that, and then he went in and said, well, they were right. So that could be a big reason to say, like, no, we shouldn't switch the U.S. to the metric system. We want to keep our jobs here. So this was from the same article. I made it blue. I put the CNN.com article here. All right, so that's all I'm going to read from that article. I'm just going to show you really quick. If I go into another article, so there's obviously much more here that we could get, but I just want to show you if I went into another article. So here we have an article from usma.org, Why Teach the Metric System? And I'm just going to go and read this number 1. It says, no conversions. The greatest advantage of SI is that it only has 1 unit for each quantity. This means it is never necessary to convert from one unit to another within the system, and there are no conversion factors for students to memorize. For example, the one and only SI unit of length is the meter. Numerical prefixes may be attached, but they do not form a separate unit. So it's talking in there about some reasons why, yes, we should switch. It's pretty easy. So if we think about our English system, we have inches, and then inches make feet, and then feet can go into yards, and then yards can go into miles, but they all have a different name. So in this article, it's giving me this idea that there's no need to convert between the units. It's all going to be a meter. You might have a centimeter, a kilometer, a decimeter, a millimeter, but it's all that same base unit, and you just change prefixes, which makes it pretty easy. So you can see here, this was from a different article, the usma.org article, so I put it in a different color. This one is in pink. And so basically, you guys, that's how you do a discussion web. So you're going to have a focus question in the middle, Your teacher will give that to you for your genetics unit. And then as you look at different resources, you're going to pull out some reasons why people may answer no to that question and why people may answer yes. And the tricky thing is, you probably are going to be on a side. You're probably either going to be yes or no. But even if you are, you still have to pick out those reasons why someone might think the opposite of you. So that is a discussion web.